Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Q&A show here on All for United. I'm your host, Temi, aka Temi Talks United. Everyone make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure to follow the movement that is All for United. I have great guests with me tonight for the Q&A show. Before I introduce them, everyone make sure to drop questions right now for this Q&A show, you feel me? I'm going to ask a few questions to the gang, you know what I'm saying? And then we're going to answer all of your fan questions. We'll keep it, to like 30, 45 minutes. Make sure you have a good time. Answer anything, you know what I'm saying? Transfers, what's going on with the club, Ollie rumors that you've heard, whatever you're feeling, man. Ask these questions. All of these guys on this panel know what the hell they're talking about. I wouldn't have invited them if they didn't. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I'm introducing my guy Jeff, introducing my guy Callum, and I have James. What a group I have with me. We have a good amount of people already. Make sure to drop in the comments Q&A in front of your question, you feel me? And we'll go along from there. Jeff and Callum and James, I'm going to ask you this question. There's been a lot of talk about David De Gea versus Dean Henderson in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Not in the comments, but just amongst our fans. De Gea looks like he's going to be dropped for good as the number one goalkeeper. Henderson looks like he's going to move into that role pretty much exclusively. It's for me, I'm a little bit disappointed with the way it's being handled. I'll let you guys answer the question that I'm going to ask here in a second, and, we'll go from it. But Jeff, what are your thoughts? I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the David De Gea and Dean Henderson situation? And do you think it's right to move on from De Gea at this point in the season?
Well, at this point, it's come to a head, right? I mean, it's inevitable for a year now. Eventually, someone will get dropped, and with all these long-term thinking, I think I'm not saying it's the ideal situation, but it is what it is. David's been a good servant to the club. He's a club legend for me. He's been our best player for a while now, and it's time to give Dean a chance. I'm not dismissing his talent. I'm not dismissing that he's over the hill. It's just that sometimes it's just better to part ways. It's like a breakup, sometimes you just know. And with De Gea having his daughter being born recently, it'd be a perfect time for him to explore going back to Spain just to be back with his family. So in the media, the narrative is not ideal, but I think for me, the situation itself is what it is, So it's okay. I mean, I've accepted it for a while now.
Interesting. I think a lot of people agree with you in that sentiment. I'm going to go and ask Callum now. How do you feel about the De Gea Henderson situation? I'm a little bit on the opposite end of the spectrum, where I think most fans are okay with this, the way it's being handled. How do you feel, Callum?
Well, we touched upon it a little bit on More the Reds before with Joe. I think the media have made up a story about it. I don't think there's any fallout. I don't think there's any bickering. I don't think there's been a problem at all, to be honest. I think it was a long time coming. We wouldn't have given Dean Henderson a big bumper contract at the start of the season if we didn't know that he was going to be the natural progressor to De Gea. I think De Gea's probably known it was coming as well. Look, his form's not been as what it was a few years ago. We all know that. I think De Gea himself probably knows that. With the birth of his child, he probably does want to go back to Spain. And I think De Gea's probably done all he can to help Henderson become that number one. I don't think there's any maliciousness in it. I don't think there's any bad blood between Ole or De Gea and Henderson. I think it's all been blown out of the water. I think it's a completely made-up story. Look, we wouldn't have gave him a contract, Henderson a contract, if he wasn't going to be the new number one. And when Henderson has been given an opportunity this season, he's took it. Now, obviously, the way he was given this opportunity was because De Gea was having a child. But in football, you take your opportunities when you can, and when you get that chance, you grab it by both hands. And Henderson's done that. So I don't think there's any issue, and it was an inevitable thing that was going to happen. So at the end of the day, he was going to be the next number one, and De Gea's probably done all he can to help Henderson transition into that, and fair play to him.
These are hard points to argue. I'm not gonna lie. I agree with you in the fact that I think the media is overblowing it. That's definitely. I agree with that 100%. I don't think De Gea is the type of person to cause an uproar too much. He's had at most one incident at the club. To me, remember after the Newcastle game last season where he essentially just ripped up everyone into pieces and they stripped the captaincy off of him. But other than that, he's pretty mild-mannered. James, what are your thoughts on this before I share my opinion? Then I'll let you guys rebuttal what I think, because I disagree, but I'll tell you why. And you've all made great points. James, what do you think?
I was talking to someone about it earlier, and I think the transition between De Gea and Henderson needs to happen. I think definitely this summer, but I think the way United go about it will be very telling, because De Gea's warranted himself more than enough respect to have this handled in the correct way. So I hope that we do everything in a way that is good for De Gea. I hope if we get rid of him, it's to a club that will look after him and where he will enjoy being and stuff like that, because realistically, he's kept us relevant as a club since Ferguson left. He's been our one consistent quality player in the team, and without him, we could be in a similar state to what Arsenal are in now, where you're looking at two finishes. Well, last season they just scraped Europa League, and this season even that's not looking likely. So that could have been us without De Gea very easily. So I think we owe him a lot of respect. We owe him a lot of respect for the whole transfer situation in 2015, where we realistically we stopped him from going. There was no fax error. I don't know who believes that, but he didn't kick up a fuss. He carried on working. He made himself the best keeper in the world after that, and he's always been a model professional at this club. So he deserves the utmost respect. I think if we can get to a point where Champions League is comfortably secure, I think you've got to give him as much game time as possible, just to give him as much of a send-off as you can and as much respect as you can, because I think just completely outcasting him as we're doing now, while it's probably, in my opinion, beneficial to the team to do so, it just completely undermines everything De Gea has done for this club. So the intentions of United are right. Getting Henderson in from the start of next season is what United need to do, but they need to do it in a very respectful manner, because it'd be horrendous to see it dealt with any differently.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you said there. I do agree that the Henderson-De Gea transition probably needed to happen. Not now for me. I thought, we would have at least given it to the end of the season. I thought, it would have been not in our best interest, but I think we're in a really comfortable spot in the league. We're in a good spot in Europa League. We're competing there. You could play Dean Henderson in those big games to test him properly. And in my opinion, I just think that it was a media overhyping, but at the same time, in my mind, I'm wondering, like, did this need to happen right now? It's just an unnecessary story. De Gea hasn't been bad by any means this season. Yes, he's made some mistakes, but generally he's been pretty damn good. And Henderson's been good, but at the same time, he's not played in as many games, and he's made a few mistakes. He made a mistake against Sheffield United, AC Milan. We know. Our last game, he was shaky, in moments, and he's a young keeper. That's not a shot at him in any means. I'm not saying he can't be a number one keeper, but to that point, I just think that we could have. This is a club legend. David De Gea is a club legend. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We could have waited to the end of the season to one, keep his price, his stock high, in my opinion. Keep his his whatever his transfer prices or what he's valued at. We could have kept it at a relatively high level. Now I think that's gone down, and Henderson would have still been playing in big games. So I think that it's not a huge deal, but I'm just a little disappointed in the way that it is being handled. I think David De Gea should still be the number one keeper until the end of the season.
Can I just respond to that, Tammy? So
yeah, of course.
I think there would have been a story come out regardless. United sell papers and the clickbait, nothing would have happened regardless. But I think what we should have always prepared for was some form of story coming out, with it being false anyway, because it's Man United and it was going to happen. With the wait until the end of the season, I think it's better to phase Henderson in like we have done throughout the season, and now it's time to give him league time. But and like you say, you're right. De Gea is a club legend, but the thing is, Henderson's mistakes haven't been huge. They've been what a young keeper would make, and I don't think that's particularly a bad thing. And yes, De Gea has been good, but like I say, I think it was always going to happen. And this story that comes out, it was always going to come out. It was always going to come out from journalists that use United to get their views up. And I think really the best protocol for that would have been to just ignore it, to be honest. I don't think it's been handled poorly. He was always going to be gone away for a month anyway because of the birth of his child.
100%.
So now he's come back fit. Don't forget, he's only been back a week. In that time, Henderson's played twice. For all we know, De Gea could be playing on Thursday and at the weekend. We don't know. We don't know the team selection. But I just think, as of now, let's just play it by ear, see how it goes. But I think it was always going to be the case that, one, a false rubbish story was going to come out because journalists like to use United's name, and two, Henderson was going to be the number one keeper at some stage. We wouldn't have offered him the contract if he wasn't going to be. So I think he might not even leave in the summer, we don't know. But I think at this moment in time, let's just see what happens, because the thing is with his transfer fee, unless he takes a substantial wage cut, I can't see United getting any transfer fee, to be honest, if he needs to leave.
Agree. I completely agree. I thought here's where those are all fair points. I don't think that we were ever going to get a huge fee for David De Gea. I completely agree with that. But I think the level he was playing at this season, I think there would have been a team that would have bid for maybe £20 million, and his wages go down to a certain level, right? What is he making? $375K a week right now. Henderson's on 100. Romero's on 50. Like, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous amount of money to pay goalkeepers in a week. Absolutely ridiculous. So yes, De Gea probably needed to move on this summer to get that wage bill down. Quite frankly, we have two keepers making less than 200K at that point. But yeah, no, these are all fair points. It's just something that I've been thinking about. You know what I'm saying, guys? Get in the comments. Make sure to hit that like button for us. Hit the subscribe button. You feel me? Drop some questions for these guys. Put Q&A in front of your question. And we're going to get started right now with Stu's question, but Callum reposted it for me. Appreciate you, bro. Bit of fun as usual. What is the most memorable goal you've witnessed being scored, and what was special about it? So as you guys know, I've never been to Manchester, so I've never watched a Manchester United live. You know what I'm saying? But I guess the most memorable goal, I guess the goal that made me literally give me chills was, Paul Scholes' goal in 08 versus Barca. That's like, that is ultimate, like, sit down, get out. Like he dragged us to a win. First of all, he was excellent in that game in general, facing that midfield, and then to score a goal like that. I don't even know what to say about Paul Scholes. One of my favorite players.
What game was that? Sorry, Sammy. What game was that you're on about?
Barcelona. Semifinals.
Barcelona versus United semifinals in 08. Yep. Was it the second? It was the second leg.
Second leg, yeah.
The second leg. So
at home.
What was it? A 0-0 draw in the first leg, right?
0-0. Yep.
Yeah. So just the magnitude of the moment. I'm sad that team didn't get a treble because it was good enough. It was good. It was definitely good enough to win that treble. Jeff, I'll go with. Actually, you know what? I'll go backwards this time. I'm going to start with James. What is the most?
Yeah, I got my answer anyway, so I'm going to think.
Most memorable goal you've witnessed. Oh, James, did we lose you? I think we lost James. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Callum real quick.
I'm trying to think. I think it pains me to say it because of who it is and how much of affiliations to Liverpool he has. But I'll always remember when United won 4-3 against Man City, and Owen scored in the 96th minute, I think it was.
Yeah.
God, that was a crazy day. I remember we watched it at a City fan's house, and he threw a can of lager at his 55-inch plasma screen. God, I still remember it like it was yesterday. Trying to think. The first goal in the Champions League final in 08. Berber's goal, where it was at 7-1, where he started it in his own half. There's so many. I'm trying to think. Like, when you get asked a certain question and you forget.
Yeah, no, of course.
Ask what your favourite song is, and then you forget every single music song that's ever happened. Yeah, probably the Michael Owen goal, just because of the sheer memory it brought.
Oh, fair enough. That Michael Owen goal was very wild. Obviously, he had a very weird Manchester United career, to say the least. But that is an unforgettable moment. That you know what I'm saying. So big up Michael Owen, I guess. I don't know. It's weird to talk about Michael Owen. I don't know how I feel about him. James, I'll go to you. What is the most memorable goal you've witnessed being scored?
Yeah, I'll try that again. But it was my first game at Old Trafford that I went to watch. It was, I think, 2007-2008 season, United versus Portsmouth, and obviously Ronaldo hit that unreal free kick into the top corner. It just marked off a really good day, obviously, for first time at being at Old Trafford and watching United, and probably one of the best goals that's ever been scored there. So without a doubt, it's that one.
No, what a free kick. It's so weird that, like, at United, it seemed like he was this free kick specialist, and then he goes to Madrid, and let me say the back end of his Madrid career, he could never convert free kicks, and he still is not very good at taking free kicks. But for United, Ronaldo there's some memorable free kicks he's taken, man. Jeff, you said yours is pretty similar to mine, yeah?
Yeah, but I have an answer also now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the most memorable goal I saw live on TV was Van Persie's goal against City. That free kick that won it for us. Yeah, the one that took a deflection and then just completely fooled Joe Hart. Was it Joe Hart? I think it was Joe Hart back then. So yeah, I think it was Van Persie's first season with us, and we just beat City to him, and then it was a draw, and then until that, it was also injury time, if I'm not mistaken. So him scoring that winning goal was just sweet for us, especially that we just lost the title the previous season, and of course we beat them to Van Persie. So yeah, that's my memorable goal.
Fair enough. Those are all great goals. Great question by my guy Stu. You feel me? Shout out to you as always.
Shout out to.
Let's get in the comments real quick. David De Gea still has a lot of years in him. His wages are the issue from our perspective. No idea where he'll end up. Yeah, that's a great. I have no idea who's going to pick him up because it feels like every top club has a keeper. It really, I don't know where he would go. I genuinely don't.
I think it'd take a bit of a merry-go-round to see what happens. I think no one knows really in terms of transfers this summer, do they?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a big club that would need a keeper, and I'm just looking like maybe
possibly
PSG. Keylor Navas is there. He's an excellent keeper.
And we did the number 2 too. I mean, if De Gea leaves, we don't have a reliable number 2 because Romero's is gone also. So.
We'll see. Let's see. In recent time, I'd say Mickey's scorpion kick goal. That was a very, very great goal.
That's crazy, man.
That's FA Cup final as well. That was a special one.
And Nemanya's goal against Crystal Palace was phenomenal too. There's so many great goals. Lingard's goal against Palace. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, of course. FA Cup final, great goal.
That was me.
Did you see Stu's answer? Of course.
For me, Sammy McElroy, our second goal in the 1970 Cup FA Cup final got us level at 2-2. Wow, I have not seen that goal. I can't lie. I need to go back and watch that game. Stu, you're giving me some homework to do. You feel me? You've given me some homework to do. No, I don't want to read that comment out. Let's see if I missed a question. Oh, let's see this comment by Stuart O'Hara. My first game at Old Trafford, Scholes scored a volley from outside the box against Fulham, February 2009. Unreal. I'm trying to remember that goal. It's not ringing off the top of my head for whatever reason. Let's see. Did I miss a question? Oh, yes. Is our current attack our worst in the Premier League era? That's a great question. I'm trying to. I'll just leave it. I'll just leave us on on 4 squares here, and then whoever can think, say go first. But I'm trying to think right now.
I don't think they're the worst in terms of quality. They just have a bad patch of form, I guess.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of maybe a Moyes or Van Gaal.
I think that Van Gaal's first year, where for most of the season it was Memphis Depay and a post prime Wayne Rooney and a post prime Juan Mata all playing up front together, and there wasn't much going for those at that point. Di Maria wasn't getting in the team for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, that's a great.
Van Persie too, right? He wasn't getting to the team.
Yeah, that sort of throws him out a little bit. I'd probably say that was, to be honest. I think our current one lacks depth, but I don't think it's our worst.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking like, man, there were some dark days with Van Gaal. A lot of nil-nils.
A lot of nil-nils. That's
so many nil-nils. So I'm just like, there's no way. There's just no way. Yes, it's kind of skewed because of our 9-0 win and our 6-2 win, but I think we scored the most goals in the league. Is that still a thing?
No, I think we're second to City now.
Okay. I know there was a point in the season where we had scored the most goals. Let's see what the comments are saying, guys. Yes, let's get in the comments. Where are your questions at, people? There was a question I saw here. For those who say David De Gea is surplus to requirements, is it okay for him to go to our rivals to remain at the top level?
I don't think they'll let that happen in the first place.
Yeah, no, he's not going to go to like a City or a Chelsea or something like that. I would be stunned if that happens. Chelsea's not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout.
He wouldn't stay in the Premier League. No way.
No. He'd probably go to Spain.
I don't think he'd want to do it, and I don't think we'd let it happen. And I think he wants to leave England. To be honest, I think he does want to go abroad. And no, it isn't okay for him to go to our rivals. Why would we sell players to our rivals to make our rivals better? We just wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, the rival selling thing is not a big fan of it. David De Gea will go to PSG, reunite with Ander. Keylor Navas is there. I can't see it. I'm sorry. I can't see it. Guys, drop your questions in for us real quick. How we doing, everyone? I want to ask a question about Granada, the Granada game, really quickly. I think he has COVID. Lindelof, he's normally been rotated in these type of games. Would you guys start Axel Tuanzebe against Granada? I would. I just can't see. I want him to be a part of this club, but it's looking more and more like he's probably going to end up being sold. But I think this is a big opportunity for him to start and make a claim to still be in the squad the next season and beyond. Callum, would you start Axel midweek?
I'd be happy if he started. I think he's a really good player. I don't really know what he's done wrong. Whether he's just not been fit, not had enough game time. I'd be happy if he started. I don't think he will start though. I think he'll probably go with Maguire and Lindelof. But I wouldn't be bothered at all if he did start. I wouldn't have an issue at all. Tuanzebe was a really good defender. I think he just got really unlucky with injuries. I don't think he'll be sold either. From a fan's perspective, I think you probably look at Lindelof, Maguire, Tuanzebe as 3 brilliant defenders to have in your club. Adding whoever we were to possibly sign, I think that would be a really good bunch of defenders. So, no, I don't think he'll be sold. I don't think he'll start, but if he did start, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you're saying there, Jeff. Do you think that not Maguire? He's obviously going to play. But do you think Lindelof or Tuanzebe should start midweek?
I think Axel can start this week just because Lindelof has that nagging back injury for the longest time. So I don't think Ollie's going to risk it. Playing 3 straight games in a stretch of a week. So yeah, Axel might play. It's a good, as you said, it's a good chance for him to prove himself that he's good enough. He's been unlucky with the injuries and his confidence was shot in that, was it a Villa game? Yeah. Or no, Everton and Villa. I forget, but yeah, it's a good chance for him to get his confidence back and prove that he's worth bringing back from the loan, right? So I think he should start for me.
Yeah, James, do you agree?
Yeah, I think he needs to start at least one of the legs because you ask any Aston Villa fan out there and they'll tell you Axel Tuanzebe is a quality centre back. You almost dragged them to promotion when he was on loan to them in the Championship. So, we're talking about a lad who's still in the development stages of his career and he made 10 appearances over the last 2 years. So you can't expect incredible performances from him straight away, which is why I think we've got to keep hold of him, play him a bit more regularly and see where we go. And I think that one of these two legs is probably the perfect opportunity to do it because hopefully we get the game wrapped up in this game. Hopefully, you never know with this team, but yeah, hopefully get the game wrapped up and then we can almost we definitely need to start him second leg. But yeah, I do hope he gets some minutes.
Yeah, no, completely agree with you. Completely agree with you there. He definitely needs to start playing. Like, I think there's a player in there. I really, really do. He showed some promise last season at left back. I remember the Arsenal game where he made that big mistake, but he was excellent that game. There was a few other games this season. I think PSG, he was absolute Rolls Royce in that game. I think there's a player in there. I hope Ali sees it because, like James mentioned, Aston Villa fans are like, they rave about him, like absolutely. Like I think the Mings and Tuanzebe partnership was a really, really strong one, and Mings is now in the England squad. I don't think he's that good. So I'm just looking at it like if Axel is as good as Tyrone Mings, he has a shot, in this thing called the Premier League. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully he gets a shot. You got some questions coming in. Oh, was there anyone want to make a comment real quick? Okay,
No, good.
I'm good with that one.
Okay, we're good. Fred Woodward, do you think we should loan Garner to a Premier League team next season to continue his development, or should we promote him to the first team squad given that we need a holding midfielder? Fascinating question. I actually love this question. I've been wanting to talk about Jimmy Garner for a while now. So I'll start with you, Jeff. What are your thoughts on what we should do with Jimmy Garner next season?
I'm a big fan of Jimmy Garner, so for me, I'd love for him to take a crack on the first team, like how he did for Mason Greenwood. The only problem is are we gonna just put him there right away in the starting 11 or not? Because we don't have a holding midfielder. The only one we have is Matic. He's old. He can't run anymore. Fred is not a holding midfielder. McTominay is a different midfielder altogether. So who's going to transition in between Matic and Garner? But for me, I'd love to give Jimmy Garner a chance next season. He's been great for Forest when given the chance. 2 goals in 2 games. So, it's not what we were looking for from a holding midfielder, but he's been holding his own against championship competition. So it might look that Woodward and the Glazers are saving money again because we're not going to buy a midfielder because of Garner, but give him a chance. It's not Garner's fault. He's that good at this point of his career.
Yeah, well, that's fair. James, what do you think about this situation?
I think personally the worst thing we could do is bring him back to United because he's not going to get regular game time at all. He's not up to that level yet. He's an incredible Championship player, probably low Premier League player, but not a United player. And then when he does play, you get that natural criticism of a United player. Everything is completely hyper-analysed, and I don't know whether he could maybe handle that right now. So it's a lot of pressure. I think there's talk of him going to Brighton, and I think that's the perfect setup for him. The way they play, and him and Yves Bissouma in a double pivot in midfield would be unreal. His passing ability and Bissouma's ability to break up the play, it could really push Brighton on another level. So I think if you can loan him to someone like that who wants to play a good style of football as well, you don't want him playing for like a West Brom or someone where he's just going to be behind the ball all the time. He's not going to get much involvement in the game. I think you need to find the right loan for him. But yeah, this year at Forest has been superb, and it's shown what a quality player he is. And I think providing Brighton stay up, I think you've got to be looking to loan him to them if they are as interested as they seem.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I'll let Callum share his thoughts on this. So it looks like we have two differing opinions right now. I think Jeff would like to see him, integrate into the first team, sort of like we do with Greenwood. My guy James wants, Jimmy to get some more time, on loan. What do you think, Callum?
I don't think he's ready at all yet for Man United. I think there's a lot of talk of him going on loan to a Premier League team next season. I think that'd be perfect for him. He's definitely not ready for the Premier League yet. He's playing brilliantly at Nottingham Forest, but this is his. He's only been on loan this year. I think he needs a little bit more time to integrate, especially get used to the Premier League. We also need to remember he's not a holding midfielder. He's more of a box-to-box kind of guy. So we'd still have the same issue. We wouldn't have that holding midfield player, which I think he could struggle with because, like James hit the nail on the head, everything at Man United is hyper-analysed and looked at within an inch of its life. And I don't know if he might come in and absolutely smash it. We don't know. It's all just speculation, but I don't personally think he's ready. And I think that a team like a Fulham or a Brighton, given these teams stay up, would be the perfect loan for him. And then the season after, maybe look at him coming in because he'd be a great addition to the squad. But for what we need right now, I think we need more than him. And I think giving a young lad that amount of pressure wouldn't be fair to him. And I don't think it'd help his development. A little bit more time, a little bit more playing time, something like Joe said, it is too soon for Ghana. I think a bit of time in the Premier League next season would be perfect.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, Joe, you're a funny guy. You know what I'm saying? Actually, my hairline is immaculate. I'll let you know that right now, but I'm not taking off this hood. No, I completely agree with you, Callum. I agree with you, James. I think it would do him great to go to Brighton. You know what I'm saying? Like, and play under Graham Potter, play in a system that's fluid, play in a system where, they pass the ball excellently well. That would help him. And, he's playing against Premier League level players. He can actually play week in and week out. Not every single player just, has to come in and be that 19, 20-year-old that breaks into the side immediately. Some people, they take a little bit more time. Jesse was one of those people. He didn't immediately just jump into the side at 18, 19 years old. It took him a little bit more time. And that's okay, and like James, like Callum was saying, he's not necessarily a destroyer type or a Declan Rice type even. He does like to get forward, as we've seen with some of the goals he scored recently. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, let's give him a little more time on loan, actually buy a holding midfielder. And then next season, if he does well again, bring him back and let's see what he's made of. You know what I'm saying? Let's see right here. Do we start the youngsters versus Granada and rest our big guns for the Spurs game, or do we field our first 11 and risk Leicester catching up to us? Honestly, Leicester catching up to us does not matter. Like, if we're second, it does matter. I take that back. It does. We do want to be in second place, make some progress. But winning that Europa League is paramount to me. We need to play our best team versus Granada. Slap them up, hopefully, 2-0, 3-0, whatever. And, Jose, we'll worry about Jose on the weekend. I don't really care. Do you guys agree with me? I'll start with you, Jeff. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you got to get that first away game in our pockets and just try to score as much as we can. Get those away goals, and then we can play maybe a rotated side or the youngsters in the second leg at home. These are Premier League players. They don't mind playing, a string of games in a short span of time. Although we did the shot just before the international break, that break was really helpful for us, I guess, in terms of having that recovery. So I think they're good to go, except for those with nagging injuries like Rashford or Lindelof. We should be fielding a strong 11 come Granada, and then we'll just get that revenge game against Spurs.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think the revenge game is the perfect way to put that, because I still have not recovered from that 6-1 slapping. That was, oh man.
I haven't forgiven Lamela for that. So
yeah, no, Lamela's still a prick, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like that just set off Martial's season. Oh my God, it set it off so bad. But yeah, no, I move on. Callum, do you agree with Brown Knight? Do you disagree with him? What are you thinking?
No, we should be playing our best 11 against Granada. We've got that little bit of cushion from third. Now we're 4 points clear of third. So to be honest, we could probably afford to lose a game against Tottenham. We'd stay in second. I'd rather get through to the semi-final of the Europa League. We all know, I obviously preferred the FA Cup, but Europa League's still a trophy that we can win. So why we'd rest our players for that one, for a game that is just going to help Spurs get in the top four, it just doesn't really make sense to me. I think our priority should be the Europa League in terms of our next game. Play our best team against Granada, put the game to bed. I said 3-0 in the Wall of Reds before. I think if we do that, we'll put the game to bed and we can rest a couple of players in the second leg. I think that would make more sense.
I hope you're right.
The Premier League players, that they're fit enough to play a few games, 2 games in a few days. Simple as that. So we shouldn't be resting them. No,
100% agree with that. James, what are you feeling?
I think especially the stick that Ole's getting specifically about not winning a trophy would suggest you've got to play your best 11 against Granada and get that sealed up. Because, like I said earlier, Temi, realistically, I get what it's nice to finish second, but whether we finish second or fourth, it's exactly the same. I'd much rather finish fourth in the league and win a trophy than finish second with no trophy, if that makes sense. So if we can get both, it's a massive bonus. But you also got to factor in we've got 8 games to seal second place. We've got 2 games to seal our place in the semi-final. So I think the priority's got to be on this quarter-final that we've got coming up. And, you take Spurs when they come. I don't think we need to do too much pre-preparation, because I think this is the most important game this week.
Yeah, no, agree 1,000%. We need to play our best 11 if possible. I mentioned Lindelof coming out mostly because of his back, troubles that he's had all season. You feel me? I worry about some of our players sometimes. A lot of them have been playing on, playing injured. Rashford specifically. Lindelof's been, nursing a back thing all year. Tony's out now. Cavani's been injured all season. It feels like, hopefully next season we can have I take that back. I think last season was worse in terms of injuries, if I remember correctly. Pogba, Matic were out for a long period of time. Rashford was out for a long period of time. Yeah. So I don't know. We gotta hopefully next season we can have most of our lineup intact, buy some new players and go on from there. I'm gonna ask one more question, then we're gonna round up, guys. We're gonna round up. It's an England question for you guys. You feel me? Because I've been watching a lot of Sky Sports recently. Very interesting. Carragher and Neville both on their the roster that they picked. They didn't include Jadon Sancho in it. What are your thoughts on that? Jadon Sancho not being picked in an England team going to a Euros. Do you think that would be smart? Do you think that is a mistake on, Carragher and Neville's end? What are your thoughts on that? I'll start with Callum. You look like you're rearing to go.
Yeah, I didn't understand that myself. To be honest with you, I don't follow the Bundesliga as much recently. I assumed maybe he was injured. I actually reread those squads quite a few times, thinking, am I being silly? Am I not seeing Sancho? I really didn't understand it, to be honest. Why he wasn't? I didn't know. I thought it would be one of the first names on the team sheet. I'd have started him right wing. I just don't understand why he wasn't even put in their squads. I thought he was a shoo-in to go to the Euros, to be completely honest. And unless he's injured or unless I've missed something, because he wasn't in the squad in March, was he? I think he is injured currently, but I don't know how serious it is. So unless it's a lot more serious than I was told, I don't understand why he wasn't picked for the squads, because I assumed he'd be guaranteed to go in the summer.
Yeah, so I think they said it's a thigh injury, out till mid to late April or something like that. So I guess
he didn't play tonight, did he, for Dortmund?
Yeah,
so.
And I was gonna say he didn't play tonight due to injury. So I get it, but I agree with you, Callum. I was quite literally shocked, that he wasn't included in both of those guys' 11. I actually respect both of their opinions to an extent. I think, Carragher, he's a Liverpool guy, obviously, but I think he talks sense. I'm not going to lie. I think, I respect his opinion. I think, I respect Gary Neville's opinion. So I was truly shocked to see that, both of them didn't include him in the squad.
I'd get it if he was out of form and things like that, but I know he didn't start the season brilliantly, but I think from January, he's hit like 13 assists and 10 goals in 3 months. Like he's coming to life in the second half of the season. So
yeah,
the form question seems to be a bit of a silly one as well. I just didn't understand why he wasn't involved over other players, but I thought I'd missed something, to be honest.
Yeah, James, what do you think about it?
It might be a bit of a weird shout, but I genuinely believe Sancho offers more to England than Raheem Sterling does. I don't think unless we're in qualifiers, you get to main tournaments. Raheem Sterling's never delivered for England. 2018 World Cup, he was abysmal, to say the least. And I genuinely, Raheem Sterling under Pep Guardiola is a phenomenal player, but under Gareth Southgate is a completely different story. And the same could probably be said for Rashford as well. And I think Jadon Sancho is arguably our best winger on his day, given the form he's in and all other things. So to not even have him in the squad is just completely baffling to me.
Yeah, no. Jeff, what do you think about that from from the outside looking in?
Well, for one, I think unless there's an hidden injury that we don't know about, then that's reasonable. But the wishful thinking side of me is that Neville's trying to price him down out of Dortmund and try to get him for United. But yeah, that's baffling. I think it's the same bias why English players don't really like to leave Premier League or Championship. It's just because they don't get the first shout in terms of getting to the England squad if they don't play the Premier League, right? So that might be the case. Like they don't really watch Sancho as much. I mean, he's been in a good run of form recently. So unless there's a hidden injury that we don't know, then that's easy to leave him out. Yeah.
No, if I was England, I would start Grealish, Kane, Sancho up top as a front three, and they would absolutely wreak havoc. Rashford and Sterling are more goal scoring threats, whereas Grealish and Sancho are more, the creative type of players. They're going to play that cute pass. They're going to play that clever pass. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Rashford, Rashford and Sterling are goal scorers. That's really what they are. It's interesting to see. I love the outside looking in perspective on England. It's just so fun to me. Like it's so much fun because there's no stake in the game for me, and it's great to see you guys stress out. I can't lie. It's really fun to see you guys stress out sometimes. I'll be completely blunt about it. It's really fun.
To be fair, Tammy, I didn't even watch any of the qualifiers. I don't particularly follow England, to be honest. Most United fans feel the same.
Yeah.
Obviously follow them at World Cups and things, but I don't really think there's that much interest in England. I don't think there's that much interest in international football, full stop, to be completely honest.
Oh wow. I'm a big international football fan. I have two teams. I'm a Nigeria and a USA fan, so I kind of I enjoy international football. I enjoy it because my teams are, Nigeria's not really an underdog in Africa or whatever, but on the world stage, my teams are underdogs, so it's always kind of fun to fight for the underdog. Whereas Manchester United, you're always expecting that you're supposed to win every game, so it's just kind of a different mentality. I don't know. Last question here before we end this. Joe, our one of the goats here, you know what I'm saying, said Q&A, who do you think is our most overrated player of the 21st century? Now, I guess that you could take overrated in many ways, like did they play for us and people overhyped their, how good they were, or when we signed them, and what they did on the pitch. Like you could take it any way. So I'll start with James. Who do you think the most overrated player of the 21st century has been?
That's a difficult one because we don't rate our players ever, do we? It's very rarely we go, yeah, this bloke's actually all right. I don't know. I personally think that Eric Bailly is maybe a little bit overrated. Probably not the most overrated, but at the minute, I think United fans have got this sense that he could come in and save the defence. And I think after 4 years, we'd have probably noticed something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But going back, it's a very tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, I go. My childhood was a world full of world-class players, and then the rest after that have not really been rated. So I'll go by. He's definitely not the most overrated, but that's just purely because I can't think of another one right now.
No, that's a great shout, Eric Bailly, because I like Eric Bailly. I think, I like Lindelof way more personally. I know people love Eric Bailly, and people hate the Maguire and Lindelof partnership, but I just think Lindelof is a way better footballer than Eric Bailly, and a lot of people disagree with me on that. I think people think that Eric Bailly is like Kalidou Koulibaly, the way people talk about him sometimes, and he's just a good center. Like Eric Bailly is a good center back. That's a good shout. That makes me think a little bit. Jeff, what do you think?
Might get a bit of slack, but I think his undroppable status makes him overrated. It's more of Marcus Rashford.
Come on. Oh,
currently, right? I'm not saying he's not good.
No.
I'm not saying he's we would need to sell him, because I discounted all the transfer flops that we've ever had, so they don't count. In terms of the undroppable status, Marcus for me, because he's clearly injured. He still has. I mean, he had a good finish last game, but he's had finishing issues, and then his decision making has been. Maybe it's a bad run of form, but his decision making has not been as sharp, So him being not dropped for a couple of games, I'm not saying an extended run, but a couple of games, just to reset him, make him step back, and then just reintegrate him in the squad just to get him going again. That's. I think Rashford's getting away of
Jeff. I see what you're saying here. I really see what you're saying here. You're not saying he's not a bad. You're not saying he's a bad player. You're saying the undroppable status of Marcus Rashford is where maybe the management deems him. The management deems him as we can't survive without Marcus Rashford. I see that point. Because there's so many times I've said he's playing poorly, and I'm like, let's give him a rest. He's injured. We're playing him through injuries. Like it's like a Ronaldo-esque thing. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't survive without him. I see what your point is. I'm not disagreeing with that in any way. And then Callum, where would you go here?
I've got a few, to be fair. Memphis Depay. He was poor when he was here. Jemba. Veron.
Jemba.
Veron. Adnan Januzaj. Falcao. He's got 4 goals for us. Who else? David Bellion, Bebe, all highly rated players who did absolutely nothing. Like, that they were.
Are these players overrated? Or were they just signings that didn't work out?
Well, Veron was meant to be. Veron was meant to be Keane's next. He's meant to be like the next big thing.
That's fair.
Jemba. He was a highly rated player. Bebe, allegedly a highly rated player. Di Maria, he was crap for us. For the first half of the season, he was great, and then dropped off completely. There was loads of players who were overrated. Like,
that's fair.
I mean, the worst ones probably. I mean, there you go. Yeah, of course I'd have a list. Yeah, but Phil Jones, friggin' hell, Phil Jones as well. How did you forget about him? Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, another one.
Yeah. Oh, don't do that to Chris Smalling. Don't do that to Chris Smalling. He was a good center back. Center back.
During that time, when center backs were just center backs.
Chris Smalling was a good center back.
He had the turning circle of a train. Like, no.
Chris Smalling was a good center back. I still think that he would have been a valuable addition to our squad even now. I think he was a good center back. I think he was just. I don't know how to explain it. He wasn't supposed to be a starter, but he would have been an amazing number 3. Like what Eric Bailly is doing right now, I think Chris Smalling could have done that equally as good, if not better. Like I'm so confident about that.
Victor Valdez, another one. Like there's loads.
Smalling will be our best center back right now.
No, he wouldn't. Maguire is.
Not really.
Lindelof probably better.
Shots.
He scored some great. He scored some great goals though, so I wouldn't take that away from him.
When you have a centre-back in Smalling who dives in his own half against Newcastle to give away a foul that then led to the 1-0 win for Newcastle, that's no.
Don't forget the City goal though. For every reaction there is an equal and opposite reaction, or is that how you say that? Is that how you say that phrase? Something like that. But anyway,
he had 2 City goals, right?
You said what?
2 City goals.
Yeah. No, I liked Chris Smalling, man. Pogba and Martial have to be up there. They scored a bunch of goals for us. I don't know. Scored a bunch of goals for us and assists. I don't know. Martial's had an awful season for sure. But if you look at his record, his actual record for Manchester United, it's pretty damn good. Same thing with Paul Pogba. His record for us is actually decent. It's just that the expectations are just so high. Who would be my most overrated? Let me think about that. In the 21st century, expectations versus reality, it has to be Alexis Sanchez, right? Like just in terms of what we expected.
Forgot about him.
What we expected versus what we actually got. 3 goals for the club, wasn't it? Was it three league goals for the club or something like that? Something horrific, I can't even get. Alexis Sanchez is definitely up there for me. Matic, no. Matic was a good player for us, even though we know it was just bad timing. But I think Matic was
he just got old, basically.
Yeah, he just got old. I think he was a really good player for us.
How did all 3 of us forget Alexis Sanchez? Mkhitaryan, he wasn't brilliant either. Kagawa.
Yeah, no, there is a laundry list. But this is where we come to the end of the road, people. What a good show. A lot of fun questions. This is why we do this Q&A show to get. I don't get the Matic hype, but he's such a good player. Prime Matic was a wonderful player. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
Schneiderlin, he was another one. Schweinsteiger. That's 2.
You're just listing all of our bad signings, Callum.
They were all.
Yeah, that's why I excluded all our flops because all of them, right?
Okay, we'll go really quickly before we'll go around this. There's a lot of talk on social media of players becoming better when they leave us. Why is that the case? I'll answer that, and then we'll go around the horn. I think the structure of our club as a whole, from top down, is not great. And if you're in a work environment where the top level isn't good. Maybe the level underneath that isn't good. It's hard for the people underneath them to succeed the way they're supposed to succeed. This isn't just Manchester United. This is any big company around the world. So, I think that a lot of our players that haven't succeeded aren't bad players. They're just in not the greatest environment. I think we've done a decent job over the past couple of years of trying to fix that environment. It's gotten a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? It has been over the past 7 to 8 years. But that being said, it's hard for top players to come in with big expectations and everything, the top player is bad, our ownership is bad, the people making the signings are bad, recruitment overall has been bad. It's just, it's hard to succeed in that type of atmosphere. That's why I think players leave, go to better clubs that are run better and succeed. I think that's the reason why. Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you on the culture thing. Unless you're really strong mentally, you're gonna fold when you play for United. It's a mental thing, basically. Like all other big corporations that you work for, you're the best in your business, and then when you get recruited, if you're not on top of your game, then you'll just get in a rut and not perform. And then when you get out there, back in the field and get another job, you'll do well. It's the same thing. Like with Moyes, actually, he's just not cut for the environment that United has. But when he got out of there, and now what he's doing with West Ham, he's actually a decent manager. So I think it's really a mental thing. It's not an ability thing.
Yeah, fair enough. James, what do you think?
I agree with Jeff, definitely, that it's a lot less strenuous playing for other clubs in terms of media harassment and the expectation of fans and everything. I think unless you do what Bruno Fernandes has done, you'll never truly be loved by the fans if you come in as a new signing. But I think it's also maybe just a little bit of poor recruitment. It's a lot of players leaving and finding their level. Like Januzaj now is doing really well with Sociedad because it's a step below. In that sense, I know we're in the same competition as them and everything, but realistically, we blew them out the water. And then you look at Depay, he went to the French league, albeit a good team who's competing in the Champions League, but not to the level of United, and that he's made a real name for himself. So you look at players who have really gone on and excelled from United, even Lukaku, like the play over in Italy is a fair enough case to argue that the Italian league isn't up to the standard of the Premier League, and he's really finding his feet over there. So, there's definitely. Go on, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, to be fair, this man did score more goals than Didier Drogba in the Premier League. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was a pretty damn good striker, even in the league. But no, to go on, continue.
But yeah, I just think we're probably, it's a lot of the time we're recruiting players who we think are going to be really good, and we end up selling them on to lesser clubs, and then they become really good because they're more comfortable and they're playing at a similar level to what they're performing at.
Fair, Callum. Real quick, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's probably a mix of, the things like the manager that signed them, the scouting, the poor recruitment. These players were signed because they were big names, not because they fitted Man United. And then they left and found their feet elsewhere and found their level. I think the lads have probably hit it, square on the head, really. Like Di Maria found his level at PSG, fitted better at Real Madrid in terms of the style of play that they used. Played under Van Gaal, wasn't very good. Sanchez was better for Wenger under his style of play. He's now gone to Inter. I don't know how well he's doing there, to be honest. Lukaku was brilliant in the Premier League, but didn't fit didn't really fit Ole, so then went over to Inter and now he's shining. Lingard, I think he just needed his confidence to come back, to be honest. I don't think he was probably at the standard he was a few years ago and just needed that burst of confidence. I think he'll probably, his future lies elsewhere, but I think it's a mix of loads of things like recruitment, scouting, manager at the time. And where they suit best and finding their level, to be honest.
No, all fair points. I do think that Lukaku has just become a better player in Italy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, but a lot of people say, oh, we should have kept him. He's not the same player he was for us that he is for, like, he's literally taken a level, like a step above. Like his first touch now, the layoffs he gives to Lautaro Martinez, he's a wonderful player. I wish he would have been that good when he was here. I don't think it's a level drop. I genuinely think that he just became a better player. But no, we didn't play the Lukaku strengths. Depay wasn't ready. Di Maria didn't want to be here. I don't think it's as much of our fault as some fans make it out to be. But all those things you're mentioning are our fault. Why would you buy a player and not play to his strengths? A big name striker. Depay. That's fair enough. I think we got him for cheap. It didn't work out. Di Maria. Why are you signing a player who doesn't want to be here? You should do your homework on a type of player like that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it's all good, guys. We're going to come to the end of the show here. I appreciate all of you for dropping the questions in the comments, making it fun as always. I'm your host, Temi, a.k.a. Temi Talks United. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, James. Thank you, Callum, for hopping on with me. I really appreciate y'all. It's always fun to do this show with the gang, you know what I'm saying, and have a good time. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to y'all very shortly. Look out for all of the shows coming up on All for United for the rest of the week. You know what I'm saying? And follow the movement. Again, like I said, that is All for United. I'll talk to y'all soon. Deuces.